India's news landscape is unique. The country has almost 400 news channels broadcasting 24/7 in 22 official languages. Over the past decade, Indians have witnessed the rise of a new breed of news anchor, brash, aggressive, unapologetically nationalistic. They trade in conflict, fear, and spectacle. It's a formula that tends to pay off in the ratings and online. A prime practitioner of this news style is Arnab Gowswami of Republic TV. Gowswami has an enormous following, particularly among supporters of Prime Minister Narendra Modi's BJP government, and he has plenty of critics who call his coverage of issues pertaining to Indian Muslims partisan and divisive. They say that he's abandoned journalism altogether. The Listening Post's Meenakshi Ravi now on a broadcaster who courts controversy and has pioneered an aggressive, high-decibel brand of nationalistic news coverage in India.
You should be arrested. People like you should be arrested. You understand that?
Arnab Gowswami is rarely silent when there's a camera around.
You know something, viewers? The Pakistanis are damn nervous today.
In the daily cacophony that bombards the Indian airwaves, Gowswami is among the loudest, most controversial voices.
I can speak louder than you. I don't want to. You are a very senior person. I don't want to interrupt you, but you forced me. I will.
So it was something of an exclusive when, late last month, an Indian comedian, Kunal Kamra, tweeted a video of Arnab Gowswami being uncharacteristically quiet.
He's not ready to answer my question, viewers.
Kamra had caught Gowswami on a flight. Their interaction was not pleasant.
The seatbelt signs were switched off. So I was like, now is the time I should go and confront him or talk to him or try and have a conversation with him. I tapped him and I said, Arnab, would you like to talk to me? He said, I'm on a call. And then he said he doesn't want to talk to me. He doesn't want to engage with me. And then I said, but why? We are the sort of people you should engage with. And then I said, I will do exactly what his reporters do to others.
Arnab, you should have a reply, Arnab. Arnab, are you a coward or are you a journalist?
I invaded his privacy and I shot that video, for which I am not sorry at all, because he totally deserves it.
Confronting someone in midair, sticking a camera in their face, peppering them with questions, is unconventional and bordering on rude. Gowswami had reason to be aggrieved, except this is a tactic his own reporters use.
Let's play the interview of Deepthi with Tejasvi.
How was the meeting?
This is not a right place to talk, actually.
What Kunal managed to do with that one act, and I would call it a performance rather, is to bring our attention back to how utterly ugly it is. I'm not saying it wasn't unpleasant, but it was a democratic act. He was simply doing what Arnab Gowswami does day in and day out. If it made even 10 people think and question how we have normalized this, and I think he's done a good job.
When Arnab does his primetime show, he does scream, he does heckle his panelists. So perhaps this time around it was, tasting his own medicine. I've worked closely with Arnab for the last several years, and thankfully he hasn't screamed at me.
Gowswami is the face of Republic TV, a channel in which he holds a majority stake. His co-owner is a parliamentarian and a member of India's ruling party, the right-wing BJP. The channel was launched 3 years into the Modi government's first term in 2017, when Gowswami told his audience what it would be getting.
I am a nationalist, and I want to say today that I believe that being a nationalist is a prerequisite to being a journalist.
Gowswami wraps himself in the flag, whether he's covering Pakistan, the Indian Army,
Don't you dare insinuate or impute absence of loyalty to the Indian Army!
and any story involving Prime Minister Narendra Modi.
Narendra Modi, I must say, identified with the pulse of a young India and a new India. He has a big agenda on his hands.
And the Prime Minister, who hardly gives interviews and never holds press conferences, has sat down with Gowswami for a one-on-one.
तो पहला क्वेश्चन है कि कैंपेन शुरू हो रहा है. प्रधानमंत्री जी, how's the जोश?
And Modi has also attended the annual events hosted by the channel, the so-called Republic Summits.
उसका टीवी शो देख लीजिए, जो इतनी लंबी चौड़ी विंडो बनाकर इतने सारे केस बुलाकर अर्नब की अदालत शुरू होती है.
Republic and Gowswami are as unapologetic in their support of Modi as Fox News in the US is for its backing of Donald Trump. The relationship, however, goes back further than that. For 10 years, up until 2016, Gowswami was the editor-in-chief of another channel, Times Now, where he honed his act into what it is today.
Arnab Gowswami really burst onto the scene during the 2008 Mumbai terror attack. I remember watching him back then when I was a journalism student.
This is not an ordinary situation. This is war.
And this was completely new for India back then, an anchor being very angry.
All of us here in the media also equally tired of reporting about senseless after senseless incident of violence to the point where it all becomes numb.
So Arnab Goswami kind of took on that space of the aggressive Fox News-ish kind of anchor. And from there on, he very successfully tapped the middle class rage or anger against politicians, against corruption.
Republic TV is referred to as the Fox network of India. But there is a large chunk of population in India that love to watch Republic TV and Arnab Goswami. So are we going to attack the entire population who watch him? Yes, there have been instances, as I said, where the reportage has been problematic. At this moment, we see a trend, unfortunately, in India, where the media just goes berserk. We need to take a call and see if we need to take a back seat and just report, and that's what we are here to do.
We requested an interview with Arnab Goswami for this report. We were told neither he nor anyone at Republic would engage with the foreign media and their, quote, lopsided approach. That response is consistent with Goswami's frequent on-air critiques of media outlets, both in India and abroad, for their reporting on Indian issues that he dismisses as wrong-headed and weak. Goswami issues those judgments from his anchor desk.
Same BBC, Madhu, which proudly lied about Kashmir.
Where he baits panelists and peddles hashtags that range from the provocative to the incendiary. In the Indian media landscape, where TV is self-regulated, holding Republic or any channel to account is near impossible. In fact, last year, when the National Broadcasting Standards Association, a group comprised of representatives from Indian channels, issued an edict that Republic air an apology for an ethics violation, the channel didn't just dismiss the order. It spearheaded the formation of a new self-regulatory body, the News Broadcasters Federation. The president of the federation is Arnab Goswami. Goswami's high-decibel aggressive style has inspired many others, from Rahul Srivastava and Navika Kumar on Times Now, to Amish Devgan of News 18 and Rubika Liaquat on a channel called ABP.
I think what he's normalized is propaganda masquerading as journalism. Same things that he is saying on prime time is also then circulated on WhatsApp, it's circulated on social media, etc. And there is a section of the public that is only receiving that, and obviously, I mean, to some extent you can't blame them for believing that there must be some truth to it, if not the whole truth.
I think what's worrying with people like Arnab Goswami is that he can go on a news channel and tarnish people as anti-nationals.
The despicable words and the anti-national conduct of people like Inamun Nabi on the right.
Say things like, we don't need to care about human rights in Kashmir, or just brand people as terrorists.
Go back, get out of my country, I don't know where.
We don't have democratic institutions that are going to rein in such misinformation and such hateful propaganda. And when you don't have that, you essentially have journalists like this who can really color people's perception and spread mass propaganda.
With politics and media increasingly polarized around the world, trolling has become the norm. TV hosts do it on the air. People do it to each other online. And an Indian comedian felt it was the only way to take on a news anchor. The consequences of trolling aren't felt equally, though. For Kunal Kamra, the pushback to his ambush of Goswami was led by the country's Minister of Aviation. His tweet commending one Indian airline for putting Kamra on a 6-month no-fly list resulted in 3 other airlines following suit. For Kamra, though, the focus of the entire incident remains Arnab Goswami.
All I know is that when you watch this man, he puts a good theatre show up. So he soaks you in and he entertains you very well and he polarizes you very well. And that polarization is leaving the TV sets and it's going to the streets. So realize what you're instigating. realize what you are getting to the table and realize how it's impacting lives.
Don't open your mouth.
Why?
Quiet.
Who are you?
Because you've spoken too
Who
much.
are you?